What's up, everybody? Welcome to the final week of the 2024 RBL season. Week 35, the marathon has ended. The finish line is in front of us. At the end of the episode today, we will know who was the fourth and final playoff team. I'm the commissioner of the Roast Battle League, Pat Barker, joined as always by the host and creator of the Roast Battle, Brian Moses. What are we shaking our head at?
I'm sad it's over.
I know.
35 weeks. So all right. So now, any kids in school, now you can honestly tell people, and this is fun. Mm-hmm. March 1st to November 1st is 35 weeks.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you'll always have that, everybody. That's 35 weeks.
We're teaching the youth. That's what we do here.
Yeah. And I'm sad it's over.
Sure.
I know you're the commit.
I'm excited for a couple weeks break. We will not stop airing podcasts. We'll be back here. Next 2 weeks, we have pre-taped things that we did in Austin with some special guests, looking over some of the best battles of the season. But we'll be back right after that because we'll have a lot to cover. We got to announce where and when the World Championships are, who are the MVPs, who's competing in that. Are there new cities coming to the league? We got to add new members to the Hall of Flame. We have to crown, we got to have the Roasty Awards. There's a lot to be done, maybe even more during the season, which is
it's a busy
insane.
off season. Shout out the behind the scenes guys for really this off season is going to be incredible because going into next season, this next 35 week season season 3 is going to be the biggest one we're ever going to do.
Oh my God. It's just, it gets bigger and better every year. When I think about the growth of this year versus last season, it's absolutely incredible. By the way, shout out to Paige Wesley. Thank you so much for filling in for me. Last week, she did an amazing job. It was a great episode. I was over getting drunk in Ireland in preparation for getting drunk in Spain. We were there for Roast Fiesta, the first one, but certainly not the last. Major success over in Barcelona this week.
Dude, it was awesome. Shout out you going back to the motherland, huh?
Yeah.
Ireland?
Yeah.
That's like you going to Africa for me.
Yeah, very
or
much
me going
like
to
that.
Africa, yeah. How was the motherland?
It's just Boston. It's Boston, but they sound a little more Irish.
Oh, nice.
We spent 2 days in Dublin. It's so funny how America is the only country that I've been to that really, in parts of it, kind of runs from its identity to the rest of the world. Like, you go to Ireland, and they're shameless. They're just like, it's all Guinness and Jameson, and that's it. They're like, we know that's how the world views us, so here's our gift shop. It's 10,000 Guinness t-shirts, a bunch of shamrocks on shit. Like, they lean into it. Tokyo is the same way. You go to Japan, it's all the anime shit, everything that... sushi, everything that you stereotypically associate with a country, once you get there, they're like, you're right. That's what we do. But you get to America and it's like, you would think you'd get there and it's like, cowboys shooting guns everywhere. But you get to LAX, obviously it's none of that.
Yeah, like when we go to the Congo, it's going to be all like child soldiers and cobalt factories.
Right. Yeah, at their gift shops.
Now we're being fucking racist.
What the fuck you mean we? I didn't.
That was just me. That was just me. I can't wait for RBL Congo, by the way.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, Nairobi shouted us out. So
yeah, shout out Nairobi. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and then obviously Barcelona was incredible. That was my first time over there. I believe the first time for you as well. I
mean, I've been to Europe, but that was my first time to the Spanish-speaking part of Europe.
Yeah.
And that was fun, man. I mean, like, Barcelona is like a small little English or American oasis. Right, they really appreciate the culture out there. So that was, it was cool. Big walking culture. Got your steps in. Everybody got their steps in. Mm-hmm. It was, and dude, there's a lot of stars in that scene. Like that, I'll say this officially. Yeah, Barcelona, you guys really inspired me to get back and like hard into the stand-up game. So, but yeah, I was just so inspired by the Barcelona Fringe out there. Shout out John Alice. He's
Yep.
kind of coordinated that whole thing out there. Just that whole scene is very, very funny. Everybody's really, really, they know what the art is. They're really good at the art, and they really respect the art. They're all students of the game of the art, and it's an inspiring scene. So yeah. BCN, I see you guys.
Yeah, and the same way that I saw the first Roast Fest in Tokyo last year, how it changed in to this year, and it got bigger, and ultimately may have pushed them over the edge into a playoff spot. We'll talk about that in a minute. For Barcelona, I saw the same kind of thing. We had 2 great roast shows with some incredible battles, and they crowned their new champion, their year-end tournament. They sold more tickets to roast battles than they ever have. You could tell the excitement was in the air. It was palpable. It was a lot of fun. And the local community, there's some really talented comics out there.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
like, what are you guys doing out there? Just holding down there and just being like lit at stand up. It was fun to see that. I'm like, oh, there's some killers down here, man.
Yeah. I will say this, their monuments to their loser soldiers are way better than ours. The architecture out there
So
is
cool.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like the architecture and the food were the two things that pushed me over the edge. I know you got around to the food eventually, but when you first
Food was
got,
good.
you hit a Popeyes and a Taco Bell, right?
I hit Burger King first.
God damn, I didn't even know about Burger King.
I hit Burger King first, then I hit Taco Bell, and then I hit McDonald's. The Taco Bell out there, my God, the best Taco Bell I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
The McDonald's was fine, and then the Burger King was trash. So Burger King's just trash everywhere.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Universally trash, Burger King. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's at stake this week, and I'm going to make this as simple as possible. 3 of the 4 playoff spots have been decided. Los Angeles, New York, Scotland. All were in it last season. All will be back in the championship this year. The last spot, Tokyo or Manchester. Either way, it's a huge upset. As of right now, Tokyo with a 4.5-point lead, which means Manchester needs a top 3 battle. Forget everything else. They need a top 3 battle. Now, they also need a little bit of help from Tokyo there. They need Tokyo to go unranked, but they need a top 3 battle to even have a chance. I'm not going to get into anything more complicated than that. Just know they need a top 3 battle. Each city made their choice of submission. Tokyo made an interesting choice. They had a battle lined up from their most recent roast battle event, and at the last minute, maybe a little bit of panic, on the last night of the season at a non-roast battle show, they decided to have a battle. And then they sat there and they panicked internally. Which one do we send? Which is the meme with the guy sweating and the buttons. And they sent in the one from the non-roast battle show. Will that move clinch the final playoff spot for them or completely backfire and ruin their season? It's time to find out. Ooh. Let's get into the top 7 battles. As always, battles 7, 6, and 5 we do not watch here in the studio. We will be checking out the top 4 battles. And for the number 7 battle, you know what, folks? Let's see Subhas Sharma, one of the more interesting characters to develop over the course of the RBL. Subhas Sharma, of course, a local legend in the Bay Area. You saw him versus Digits. It was completely insane. Here he is, back again with his own unique brand of comedy. It's the number 7 battle this week, Subhas Sharma versus Brit Beer. Here it is.
Give it up to my friend Brittany, everybody, please. You know, folks, I know Brittany for a few years, all right? She used to be skinny. Pretty and smart. Now she looks like a retarded tweaker. Look at her. She looks like a balloon. Not a hot balloon. She looks like a ugly balloon that everybody wants her to float away. What do you got, girl?
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, Trash Bin Laden. Wait, actually, I love Subhas, and actually he's from Nepal, so I had to do a bunch of research because I knew nothing about it. And turns out Nepal is the only country that doesn't have a rectangular flag.
Yeah.
This is news to him. And the flag from Nepal is actually 2 red flags. Subhas is one of them. But no, I learned a lot about the culture in Nepal. And for example, you eat with your right hand and you fist with your left.
Okay. That's how we got?
Yeah, well, I didn't even talk about you being attracted to balloons at all. We let that one go.
All right. You know, folks, my friend, Brittany Beer, all right, she has been doing comedy for more than 13 years.
That's true.
All right? And she is a crappy comedian. All right? She's so crappy, nobody laughs on her jokes. All right?
Speaking of laughs, you laugh like a 14-year-old boy who just saw boobs for the first time.
I'm not even done on that joke, all right?
My apologies.
It's all good. She should change her name from Brittany Beer to Crappy Beer.
Okay, speaking of names, I had to Google what does Subas mean. It means gender boy fragrance. It was just a way for his mom to say, that boy smells.
All right. You know, folks, my friend Brittany, she calls herself an actress, all right? And she never get booked on acting. She tried to act in a pornographic movie. And they say she's no good. Because she is too fat to fuck. She is a loser, folks.
Okay, thank you, Hima Never Get Later. Okay, well, yeah, we all know Subas fucks. Because, believe it or not, he actually has 2 kids. He has a son and a daughter. He named his son Kobe after Kobe Bryant. And he named his daughter, well, what was she wearing? I had another joke. Should have went with that one.
I got one more.
You got one more? I got 5 more. Yeah.
You know, folks, my friend Brittany is a racist white trash from El Dorado, Helibelly. And she hates immigrants because immigrants eat dog and cats. She got no dog, no more cats to eat the peanut butter inside her pussy. She's a crazy woman.
Subas, you're like Mad Libs from a shrunken head. Subas, you look like you got fired from a ladies' Foot Locker for offering discounts for smelling feet. And then that you still wear this shirt on weekends to ref youth soccer.
So that was the number 7 battle. We, again, did not watch it here. I'm sure you could fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, those are 2 great characters.
Yes.
I mean, Brit's fun, right? Just aesthetically, both of those 2 are just fun to look at, and just like there's so many target areas. So I'm assuming that was a great fun battle. Just off the names alone, those are 2 fun battlers in the Bay Area, Brit and obviously Subas.
Yeah, both a lot of fun. Both some fan favorites. Brit had a really nice season. Posted a number 1 battle earlier this year with Cookie Williams.
Oh yeah,
I believe it was her 3rd or 4th appearance on the podcast. She had a really nice year, and congrats on picking up the win over Subas in the number 7 battle this week.
Yeah, it was great to learn Subas this season. I mean, he becomes like a star of the Bay Area now. Obviously, Brit has a solid season by getting on the countdown 4 times this year. So, yeah, she's on the roster now. We know who she is. And obviously, Subas became sort of a star in the Bay Area due to this season. So, hell of a season by both of you.
The Bay Area ended up having one of the deeper rosters in the entire league. If you go down and see who was getting them points, there's a lot of guys who were putting points on the board. So shout out to Josh Means. I know subplot not quite as important as Tokyo versus Manchester, but it was really important to Josh that they finished the season in 2nd place with Austin hot on their heels. Will the number 7 battle be enough to make that happen? Stay tuned. Let's go to the number 6 battle this week, and this one comes to us from London. We've talked about how London maybe had the opposite situation of the Bay Area, not a lot of depth on their roster. This season it was the Shalaka show, and then everybody else a couple steps behind. Although there were a couple of guys who contributed a little bit more than others. Both of these guys finished 8-1 this season. Ken Grinnell and the guy we're about to see in this battle, Luke Hall. Luke Hall, one of the best records in Roast Battle League history. This is also his 4th podcast appearance of the season. So he did his part, but London ultimately is going to fall a little bit short. And they fall a little bit short on the countdown today, coming in at number 6. It's Luke Hall versus Aziz Vora. Here it is.
So this is Luke Hall. Perfect for when you don't have enough space for a full-size lesbian. Luke, if you're here tonight, who's in France helping Linguini cook from under his chef's hat?
And I'm a lesbian because I eat pussy. This hipster Muslim is Aziz. When Aziz isn't brewing kombucha with his dick cheese, he works for a famous YouTuber, and some of you might recognize him if you're a fan of ISIS beheading videos. Worth a try.
Oh, that's it, okay. I just hope you're one of the 72 virgins I get to fuck.
Technically, that's a compliment as well. Let's go, baby.
Luke has had self-esteem issues his whole life, and suffered, when he was growing up, suffered from anorexia and bulimia, which I'm happy to say he's now recovered from, so everyone give me a round of applause for that. I think I speak for all of us here tonight, watching you, when I say, have you put a bit of weight recently?
Yeah.
Just saying, you can overcorrect, so just think about that when you're in the toilet later.
Pretty good. I am looking forward to that, man. More gags than your comedy. So Aziz met his ex-girlfriend playing Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, but she then cheated on him with another member of their Dungeons and Dragons group. Yeah, he has a 20-side dice, she's got 20-side pieces. It's mad, he spends a load of time in that kind of like fantasy world, but not one where his girlfriend still loves him.
Never trust a dark elf, guys. That's not
That's a little bit racist.
Luke studies physics at university. He likes to tell girls that he's got a PhD. Pretty huge depression. Luke is doing much better now. He's 6 years sober, mainly because all the booze is on the top shelf.
It's good. It's good. It's true. I have depression. I was shocked Aziz didn't. No, but seriously, you are the 2nd most fuckable guy in a Dungeons and Dragons group. Aziz actually has a twin sister, but it's hard to know if they look alike because her face is always covered in Aziz's jizz.
Luke runs a weekly comedians basketball game, believe it or not. make it down there when I can, although I haven't seen him there the last few times I've been. He was there, it's just even when he jumps, he's just below my eye line.
It's good. So Aziz did stand-up in Japan, where he was a lot more successful, which makes sense because, boy, do they love hairy pussies over there. It's actually mad he lived in Japan, given he says Nagasaki with a hard R.
That's true, I did live in Japan. I actually got Luke from a vending machine there.
I like that. That's good stuff. Well done.
Nah, I'm shitting on Luke, but he's actually, you can't deny, he's a good-looking guy. I mean, you look like you could be in a boy band. And by that, I mean, you look like TMZ's photos of Liam Payne. That's the one.
Turns out that was too soon. As we know, Aziz is a hipster Muslim, so he hated Jewish people before it was cool. That was unhelpful. It's true though, he really does put the tiny penis in Palestine penis. Too soon.
So that was number 6 this week. Luke Hall, Aziz Vora. Luke picks up the win, finishes the season 8-1. A little bit of an unsung hero. Kind of the same way we described Helen Kay, who we got to meet this week in Barcelona.
Yeah.
What
Yeah, Helen Kay is an interesting character. She's as hardcore as she is on stage as she is off stage. You can see why she's a battler. She's constantly, I mean, that person is constantly in roast mode, and you can tell she's just constantly writing jokes and just roasting the fuck out of people. She's an actual monster walking around with 2 legs.
That's a great way to put it. And she had a nice season too, but really I feel like the depth in London was not really on display this season. Obviously, it took a step back from last year when they were running weekly shows and running away with the international division. This year they're going to come in 3rd in the International East. What are your thoughts kind of long-term on London? Do you expect them to be back on top next season, or are they in a bit of a rebuilding phase?
First, congratulations, Luke. 8-1 in the season. You had a great season last year. You're just consistent in this. You're a great player in this, which probably means you're going to be a Hall of Famer in this. So thank you for being in the league, staying in the league, and always writing jokes and knowing and understanding that this is a joke writer showcase. It has nothing to do with your stand-up. So thank you, Luke Hall, for carrying the torch with Shalaka in London. But outside of that, they just had to do more shows. I mean, clearly we do the most amount of shows. We do weekly. They were doing weekly, so you can see why that consistency can bring you a little more fanfare and probably a little more power in the league. And then they saw it. You scale back, it's going to fuck you up. And I thought they were going to come back because I thought the depth was so solid. But then I got to learn that, the more shows they do, I just get to see more guys, so the more points they accumulate. So less shows, less points. Do more shows, you get more points. Yeah,
I mean, it was kind of an even playing field this year. And even at the beginning of the season, if you had said, okay, even playing field, same number of battles roughly as Tokyo and Manchester, who do you got? I would still say London, because they were so dominant last year. But I think what you really saw here, the other cities wanted it more.
Yeah.
That's a cliche in sports, the underdog, they just wanted it more. Tokyo takes this very seriously. Manchester, once they got rolling and realized, hey, we could be more than just an expansion city. We could shock the world and do this thing. Yeah. The hunger there when you talk to those guys is kind of palpable. And I think London just got surprise punched in the mouth. I think it was a little bit of a Buster Douglas kind of thing.
Ooh.
Where these underdogs come up and you're like, all right, well, whatever, we're going to win. We got, Shalaka and Ken and, we're going to be fine. And then I just think they were hungrier, the other cities this year.
They really were. I mean, you're right. I mean, you couldn't have said it better, actually. And maybe that's what it was. It was, even with Barcelona and just the culture out there, the siesta culture they have, as much as they put into it, they were hungry. Even felt like at times of this season they were ahead. So London, do more shows. Be hungry. If you guys want more, inspire some of these comics that are out there to just I guess submit more.
And Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona.
The first time I ignored it. The second time I was like, let's talk about it. Yeah. But when you talk about how hungry they are, we went and did a writer's workshop, right? Where we, talked to them about how to write roast jokes. 30 to 40 local comedians showed up. They had a lot of questions. And there was also this air of the ranking committee is not being fair to us. We're better than you guys are giving us credit for. They watch every week. They hang on the results. They live and die with it. And then, like, I mean, I'm being extreme, but Tokyo is the same kind of way where it's like they just take it really, really seriously. And I think ultimately that is going to propel them to the next level. I do. I mean, they just have to do more. I mean, but that culture really isn't like that, of doing more. You know what I mean? Like, everybody works like 20 hours a week out there. They're not like... In London?
No, London. I meant like Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Barcelona. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, sorry, Barcelona. It's not like a civil war in the sense of a reenactment.
Civil war.
A civil war. It's more like if the Cowboys and Indians, like, you know, the indigenous people of Catalonia, if they lost, you know, to the people who were colonizing them, which are the Hispanics.
You say Catalonia? You can't add an H to any.
It's Catalonia. Catalunya. I'm sorry.
It's Catalunya?
Yeah, it's the land of Catalonia. Yeah.
Did they tell you about Jew Mountain?
No.
All right. Well,
there's Jew Mountain?
Yeah, I'll tell you about Jew Mountain off air.
Okay.
But let's keep it going right now and get to the number 5 battle this week. And the number 5 battle this week comes to us from Manchester. It's officially over. As of this second, Tokyo has clinched the International East. Manchester comes up just a little bit short. Hell of a season for Manchester. Hell of a run.
For an expansion, the first year?
My God. For an expansion city to lead so much of the way and get down to the last week, and I know they're going to be disappointed in this. And this is a bittersweet...
Meccan
Yeah. Meccan's amazing.
Like, she's incredible, actually. Like, she's just really good overall. She's a hell of a comic. She's a hell of a comedic artist.
Yeah.
She's just really good at everything she does.
She killed judging, too.
Killed her battle, killed judging. She's a hell of a performer. Yeah,
she's something else. And great season for Manchester. I know this is bittersweet to be on the countdown, be number 5. Congratulations to Tokyo. We'll talk more about that at the end of the episode. But for now, it's a hell of a way to end the season on the countdown again. Number 5, it is Paul Sheehan versus Jordan Ducharme. Here it is.
Jordan looks like his safe word is Beetlejuice. But when his partners say it, he refuses to disappear. Jordan lost his virginity in a van at a music festival. And he looks like a man who was conceived in a van at a music festival. He's a real mess. Like, he's the type of... Jordan is the type of man who would never eat out a woman, but would happily eat out a dumpster.
All right, Paul Sheehan, everyone. If you can't tell, he's proper Irish. The only thing more black than the Guinness in his hand is the liver in his body. He's not in the IRA, but he is an IRA, an irritating, retarded asshole. He's so Irish. Even when he played Stardew Valley, he had a potato famine. There was also a small potato famine in his own household growing up because Paul kept drilling holes in the potatoes and fucking them.
Yeah, that was pretty enjoyable. Jordan looks like a failed magician. Yeah, Hagrid. You look like Hagrid, bro. Ironic because they both have broken wands and keep animals in their shed. When you can't find Jordan doing stand-up, catch him angrily tossing barrels at Super Mario.
So on the info sheets we exchanged before the roast, Paul put under height 5'8", maybe 5'9". Yeah. This guy's so unconfident, he's not sure how tall he is. Completely true. He's been in England well over a year, but still doesn't have a British bank account. He figures, what's the difference? One of his Irish buddies is going to blow it up anyways. He's also not been laid in well over a year, so he's more likely to get blown up than get a blowjob.
Oh, one of these days. Well, since we're talking about facts, Jordan once owned a blind dog. Yeah, he lost his sight after Jordan furiously masturbated in front of it. Okay, maybe it wasn't a fact, alright? But this is true. Jordan hates Jack Black, and he recently got circumcised. In both cases, he wasn't happy looking at the head of a Tenacious D. Jordan's had 2 surgeries, his nose and his dick. I'm assuming he did the dick. I'm assuming he did the nose first, and then said, "Oh God, has it always smelled that bad?"
All right. It's nice Paul could take a day off sweeping chimneys to be here tonight. Paul looks like he's still breastfed. He looks like he was born in a coal mine. Paul looks like that weird guy who sniffs babies' heads when he holds them. He looks like a Pinocchio came to life and was made of ham. And finally, Paul looks like he calls the bucket under his bed his ensuite.
All right, give it up for Seth Rogen. Jordan believes that smoking weed will cure his mounting hemorrhoids. He read that high while sitting on the toilet for too long. Yeah, Jordan claims to enjoy getting stoned and watching reality TV, when in reality he's a stoner who will never be on TV.
Keep it going for the kitty fiddler on the roof, everybody. Paul began drinking from a very young age as a fetus. His mom was such a drunk, her tit milk was literally White Russian. Growing up, Paul was a pre-sweat dream. He still remembers the first time he got drunk off communion wine. No. Paul has a leather fetish. A fetish for leather, which is the polite way of saying that Paul fucks cows.
Jordan loves wrestling with alcoholism. And it's okay. It's okay. Every weekend is a death match. But I love Jordan. He's like Manchester roast battles Vince McMahon. Because he'll end up on Netflix for all the wrong reasons. Jordan's a child inside a man's body who desperately wants to be a man inside a child's body.
All right. Last one here. Growing up, Paul never had any family pets because he looks like that creepy kid that would either kill it or fuck it. Paul's parents never wanted a dog, so they were so disappointed with this little bitch that they raised. And finally, Paul says his three's funny. Like instead of 33, he'll say 33. But nobody found it funny when they found out he was messaging 13-year-olds. That's us, everybody.
So there was the number 5 battle this week. Manchester, Paul Sheehan, and Jordan Ducharme. Jordan, the co-showrunner of Manchester, built this thing from the ground up in 35 weeks. Almost shocked the world. Came as close as humanly possible. Yeah, just a hell of a year. They have nothing to be. I know they're going to be disappointed, but they have nothing to be disappointed about.
Yeah, that was a hell of a showing. Nobody thought at the beginning of the season that we'd be talking about Manchester 35 weeks later.
Yeah.
Right? So you guys have stars in your area. We've built some stars in your area. You've built some stars in your area. So like that's incredible what you guys did. I know who Meccan Roth is. Jordan Ducharme is now. Who were the first guys? I mean, obviously I don't remember the names, but I remember the jokes.
Michael Mannion, Monty Wilson is the battle you're thinking of. Week 2 that opened our eyes to that entire scene, and we were like, holy shit.
This is what I'm saying. You guys had a a National Hockey League Las Vegas Knights expansion season type of feel.
Yeah.
I thought Manchester had. So congratulations, Manchester. Didn't think I'd be talking about you 35 weeks later. Here we are. Jordan Toujarm, it's because of you for organizing that whole scene and creating that whole scene. So thank you, my man.
And really, Roast Fest ended up being the difference.
Really? The Tokyo Roast Fest.
Tokyo was 15 points down at the time of Roast Fest. They got 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s out of it. That's 26 points. They win by 1.5 points. You know, that's a big turn in the season. And Manchester, look, they worked with Scotland. They sent some of their guys over there and vice versa, and they got some points there. So I'm not going to say Manchester did it entirely like on their own. It didn't have any help. But Tokyo, to schedule that kind of event and get that level of talent out there and get those battles out of it, that ended up being the difference. If it wasn't for Roast Fest, Manchester would be winning this division.
Maybe season 2 did teach us that tournaments really do. It's almost like hitting the NOS button, you know, in Fast and the Furious. If you're like in a race, right? Yep. That's helped. That was what kind of sprung Chicago in the beginning, where everybody's like, "Oh, they're running away with this." And then after the tournament, you didn't really hear about Chicago after that, right? The Edinburgh Fest, that was really a supercharging for. We thought London, but it really helped Manchester.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and you know, for Tokyo and for so many of these European countries, Manchester could run something similar next year.
Yeah,
absolutely, they could.
It's a cheat code
with how close you are to all the other cities. And you know, the thing about, you know, Barcelona and what they did is all you have to do is put in the effort to make it happen. You got to reach out to these people. People want to come to your city. They want to battle. They want to get on the road. You can get some really, really good people out there and get some points on the board just by helping to expand the community aspect of the league, really.
Yes. You are great at propaganda. I got to be honest. Because what you're doing right now is you're planting a seed and you're manifesting every RBL city to create their own roast festival so they will send us out there and we can come and kick it. I love this, Pat. This is a great way to plant that seed.
I don't.
But it is also, yes, it is a cheat code to get more points in this league, but it's also a way to get us out there. So yeah, have a roast festival.
You don't have to have me. Just, you know, get other people who are talented. You know, and if you want to invite me, I mean, I would love to come.
Oh, man, the self-deprecation to being humble about it. You don't have to have me, guys. I'm just saying it'd be good for the league. We'll put it on the...
Would it hurt my feelings if I wasn't invited? Absolutely. You know,
I can't wait to go to the Fiji Roast Festival.
I can't believe you called me out on that.
That was awesome, though. I was like, this is some good property. This guy is that's why you graduated with a business degree.
Yeah, right. But I think Barcelona's gonna, because I was even talking to James, and it's like, well, you only end up getting 1 week of points out of this because they have it at the end of October, the end of the season, and it's like, man, you put this thing in July, you know, Tokyo got 4 or 5 weeks out of the Roast Fest.
Yeah.
Right, Scotland got 4 or 5 weeks out of Edinburgh, so it's just math.
I know, but I heard Barcelona's like just too hot in July. Keep it in October. I heard that was like the best time to go. So,
okay, yeah, I'm not coming out there in July. I'll come out there in July. Just let me know. I got nothing else going on.
Give a child a raise. Let me go.
Either way, great season out of Manchester. Congratulations, sincerely. I can't wait to see the step you guys take next season. By far the best of the expansion cities. More points than the rest of them combined.
Manchester.
Yeah. Also, we still have an APB out on Montreal. If anybody has seen the Montreal roast battle in the last 3 months, please let me know. It is missing. It is officially on the back of our bags of milk or whatever they serve in that fucking goofy country. Okay, now it's time to actually watch some battles here in the studio. And the number 4 battle is very, very interesting because we have talked for months now about who is going to be the New York MVP.
Whoa.
And they scheduled John Ajota versus Andrew Manning on the last day of the season.
This is number 4?
It's number 4.
Oh, this better be fucking good.
It's number 4. The prevalent thought was whoever wins this will be the front runner for MVP. Hold your thoughts on that. I want you to see the battle first and we'll talk about it. It's the number 4 battle this week. Andrew Manning versus John Ajota from New York. Here it is.
I'll go first.
Begin the battle!
Wow. What a journey we've had. Okay. How embarrassing that Rob ran to that seat. But okay. Anyway, believe it or not, Andrew is actually 1/4 Palestinian, which is fascinating because nowadays Palestine is only 1/4 Palestinian. Pretty soon you're about to be 1/4 Israeli beachfront property.
John, you put the ooh in Hindu. John, I'm not surprised your father abandoned you. I'm surprised your mom kept you. You know, it's been years and she still hasn't thrown out her husband's leftover Indian.
Your people are suffering, but anyway, I don't know. This really is not fair to me because I don't know how I'm supposed to focus on anything other than Andrew's succulent breasts. No, but he's actually lost a lot of weight since last year when he found out he was too heavy to paraglide into Tel Aviv. Imagine being too fat for terrorism.
Damn.
I love that John's making fun of where my people are from. Like, where his people are from isn't also a complete shithole. You know what I'm talking about? New Jersey? Anyway. John actually doesn't like the terms third world country and first world country. He prefers to say where my dad is from and where my dad abandoned me.
It was a little wordy, I feel. Andrew is so white trash. He's the type of trash left sitting out on the curb in the sweltering summer sun, torn open by a Chinese can collector, and turned into a temporary home of a feral raccoon in heat. Trash that will sit out for another 2 weeks because the sanitation union is on strike and negotiations are at a standstill. So he will melt into a festering goo of food scraps and junk mail as the man who threw you out to the curb discovers his wife's infidelity, shooting her and her partner in a crime of passion before turning the gun on himself. That kind of trash.
Mine was wordy, though. It's amazing. John, I don't know what you were in a past life, but in this one, you're stupid. Around here, we call that reintardation. John is a New York City Indian, so that means before a bus rape, he likes to yell, "Showtime!"
Oh my goodness. I've never been more certain someone is repressing memories of being molested. Andrew, actually, he used to be in the Boy Scouts, speaking of which, and he loved to go camping, but now he goes camping scouting for boys. I didn't know there was a badge for perpetuating the cycle of trauma.
John likes to play video games on Steam, which is ironic because steam is heat and water pressure, and usually Indians avoid shower ingredients.
First of all, we cleanse ourselves in the River Ganges. You slimy, pasty hermaphrodite. Listen, and I know it's not cool to refer to people as that anymore, but it is appropriate scientific nomenclature for asexual invertebrate life forms.
Thank you, Curry Vinda loser. John majored in economics, but looks like his only contribution to the financial district was American Airlines Flight 175.
But he's the Arab. I'm brown. Don't let. No, okay, all right.
All right. Number 4 battle this week, Andrew Manning, John Ajota. Andrew Manning picks up the win, ends the season undefeated, 7-0. Thoughts?
And I know they're both watching, so I have to be very careful because both these guys are assassins and they use scalpels to write their jokes. It seemed like they really respected each other as like stand-ups or just like as artists. I see they do this thing where it's like if they don't respect somebody as a stand-up, they really go in on that. It seemed like because they couldn't lean in on it, like, ugh, I don't respect this guy enough. Let me just talk about how bad he is and like really lean into that part. They didn't do that. That felt more like boast rattle than it felt like roast battle. And boast rattle is the bizarro version of us because it's like doing a toast at a wedding, right? You're doing a lot of just backhanded compliments or just compliments outright. You're trying to out-compliment somebody. That's boast rattle by Kyle Ayers. Roast battle, what we're doing is the art of attacking a subject type of thing. And they were doing that. There was a lot of, like you say, subject to vehicle, a lot of, there were some race jokes that were misdirects, some 9/11 jokes, which were basically race jokes that were misdirects. There was a lot of that, but it wasn't really personal. I didn't get to learn anything about both of them. And they are usually really good about that, about going below the surface. John did his special move, right? Like we're talking UFC terms. He tried to submit Andrew, but he was so nice about it. You know, like when he did the thing opening the book and doing the poem he always does before he calls him a queer, you know, essentially.
Yeah.
Didn't do that. He didn't stick him with that because I really think they like each other.
Maybe. I mean, I know there's a lot of respect there. I'll say that for sure. One of the episodes that I alluded to earlier that will be airing in the next couple weeks was one I recorded with John, you know, down in Austin and someone else. Yeah. And I asked him, you know, I think on air and definitely off air, and he said that Andrew Manning is the guy. That's the top guy, you know, other than himself. And that was going to be the biggest challenge. So I know he felt that. You're right. A lot of the stuff was kind of like surface level. There was a lot of Palestine stuff. There was a lot of Indian stuff.
Yeah. Some religion stuff, Hindu stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I think that
Jew stuff.
I think that ultimately it was an off night for John and Joda. Everybody has them. I don't think, I mean, certainly saying that Andrews was wordy right before you go into that joke.
It's a bad strategy.
Is I'm sure he wishes he had that one back.
That throwback, right?
Yeah. Because that's one you say and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I'm sure because we all had the same thought. Like halfway through his thing, it's just like
he's just set himself up.
Yeah. And that particular one didn't connect. He's a high risk, high reward kind of like performer. And he often gets the high reward. And in this case, the high risk came back to bite him.
But I know why. Because he likes Andrew. And this is what this taught me about John and when he really does go in on somebody. If he doesn't respect you as a comic, he's going to win because he's going to go in because he's doing this thing where he's bypassing respect. And like usually you respect your opponent. So he's taking it because he respects you as an opponent in a roast battle, but not as a stand-up. If he respects you as a stand-up and as a person, I've seen him do this with guys. He just doesn't attack them like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think everyone wants to see Jack or Malia again.
We'll talk more about that in a minute. But yes, the message behind his riskier bits has always been this guy doesn't belong on the stage with me as a comedian. For X or Y, for whatever reason, it's the riskier bits. The crux of the message is you are lesser than. Yes. With Lucas Arnold, it was you're a content creator. With Jack Weiler, it was like you're not a good stand-up. With Malia Simon, it was like you're using hacky structures to perpetuate negative stereotypes about the art form. There was always a deeper message, and in here it was just kind of like a little novel about a trash man who kills himself. Which I respect the attempt, but it didn't connect kind of on that level. Andrew Manning is sort of the prototypical roast battler. He does everything well. He is a hard target. I don't think he provides as many like super high highs as like a John does. I think he's a little bit more steady and consistent. He's 10-0 across 2 RBL seasons. He's very, very, very difficult to beat. I think, frankly, he gives New York a better chance to win the championship than any other comic they would send. And I know we've talked about how the winner of this is, a lot of people are going to think the MVP. I'm going to say I think there's still a case to be made for Malia Simon.
Okay.
The case goes like this. Andrew was 7-0. Malia was 7-3. Malia had 39 points for New York. Andrew had 17. I get that undefeated is undefeated, and I haven't made my decision yet, and I'm one of only, a few votes, and my vote ultimately will sway very little. But I do think there's something to be said for Malia consistently putting in those top 2, top 3 battles, whereas, Andrew maybe wasn't able to do that quite as much.
Wow.
I just think I don't think it's as cut and dry as everybody is making it out to be.
This is almost like the BCS. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, the college football before they did the playoff kind of
when
thing.
you had Boise State versus Alabama
or the AP
whatever.
Picking it, right? So it's like it's human error there's involved, right?
Sure.
So if we go by stats, you might have to put Malia in there, even at 7-3, because we all say this, that the winning is arbitrary. I always throw that bullshit out. But as far as the points are concerned, because they're getting on this for the quality of their battle, that's the strength of what we're talking about. And especially her strength is having great battles. So if as a region, as a city, you're going to put somebody in to represent your city, you may want to put Malia in there. And obviously, it was my pick, my preseason pick, to be their MVP, because I'm a big fan. And ultimately, it came to fruition because she's showing everybody, I'm getting the most points. I have the best battles quality-wise, and I'm going to represent my city the best because I can win. I'll beat anybody you put in front of me. Or there's a higher percentage I may win. Yeah. If we're going to do the whole, if we're going to bring the arbitrary thing of winning back when there's a competition involved, when there's a tournament, because it's the best 4 to win, right? Or the best 4 to 1 wins. Then yeah, I would say maybe her. But let's go to Andrew, because I think Andrew is the most consistent. Yeah. He is the best 5-tool player. I even think in that battle, he kind of shows us exactly what you want, which is he's doing puns, he's doing stories, right? He's doing a little wordier kind of a thing. He's setting up for a big punch kind of a thing. So he has the ability to do it. He can do a quick rebut. He can do it off the cuff, right? Like oh, you call me wordy. Boom, gets him right back on the audience's side. He can be likable. He can be a heel. So if he has to play villain, he can, but still be likable. And obviously, he can write a hell of a just a set up and punch one-liner joke.
He's very, very good at this. He's very talented. I remember being so impressed when he battled Spaghetti Jake at the Mothership. And even when he stumbled and forgot a joke, he pulled out his phone to look, and I've never seen somebody play it off so perfectly. He just pulled it out and he was like, oh yeah, fat and stupid, got it. And so he is really good at everything. He's unflappable up there. 10-0 across 2 seasons is ridiculous. 7-0 this season. And I think the strongest argument for him versus Malia, because they didn't go head to head, Ajota clearly beat Malia. He clearly beat Ajota. So by the transitive property, I get all of that. All I'm saying is, I think the beauty of the MVP is that it's subjective. What does the word value mean to you? Did the Malia bring more value to New York by getting those points, or did Andrew bring more value by having an undefeated season and wrap it up by beating the guy who was kind of a runaway freight train?
Oh, yeah.
And beating him convincingly.
Yeah.
To the point where John, I think by the end, I'd never seen John lose confidence, but in that last joke, it felt like he was very much, he was teetering.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, it felt like something did happen to John beforehand or something, just because he wasn't doing the John Ajota.
Yeah.
He wasn't Jigsaw from Saw. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that works when it's working.
Right.
I think it's a runaway train when
needs lubrication, needs that WD-40, it needs that type of shit. So when John's running, he's a bowling ball, you're not going to stop him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. If it isn't clicking on all cylinders, it's a little harder to it's easier to lasso him up.
Yeah. Still incredible season, and he represented New York in the championship last year, so a hell of a 2 years for John Ajota.
I mean, he really made his stamp on this season, so people are going to remember John Ajota from this season of oh, that's the guy that will, if he doesn't respect you, you're in for a fucking world of hurt. If we're talking UFC talk as a fighter, that guy goes for the face a lot.
For me, Ajota and Jack Trainer maybe made more of an impact this season than anybody in terms of that's the thing we're coming away from the season talking about. I think a lot of people couldn't tell you who won the NBA championship in 2006, but they remember Kobe's 81-point game.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes these moments that you have, whether or not they result in a championship, are worth more than anything. So, and he definitely had several of those moments. The Jack Weiler battle, the Malia Simon battle. People will be talking about those for years. So congratulations, no matter who wins the New York MVP. Very impressive season. They win the East. They will be in the World Championships. Who will be representing them? Stay tuned. We'll find out. We're going to keep it moving right now with the number 3 battle this week. It's 5 points for Austin, Texas, which means they sneak ahead of the Bay Area on the last day. I'm so sorry, Josh Means. Austin comes in second place in the West, and they do it with the number 3 battle this week. It's a good one. It's Trey Pack versus Brent Reed. Here it is.
Let Brent Reed go first. Here we go, last battle of the night. Brent Reed, Trey Pack. Here we go, everyone. 5 jokes.
Trey looks like he was breastfed Mountain Dew.
My mama loves me. I don't know what to do. All right, Freddie Mercury poisoning. Let's get into this, dude. Let's make this happen.
That's fun.
Man, Brant looks like a police officer that only solves gay crimes. He doesn't have lights or a siren. He just holds a sparkler out the window and is like, woo! got the right to remain silent.
That's fun. Trey's a barber during the day. That's why he has a mullet, because he can't reach the back of his head.
All right, well, listen, Brent's got the body of a 12-year-old girl and the mustache of somebody that wants to fuck it.
Trey and I are actually really good pals. We knew each other in the Southeast. He asked to ride with me to a comedy show recently, and he wouldn't fit in my car. But we'll get to ride together a bunch when he loses both of his legs to diabetes.
Been a long drive on your bicycle. Man, Brent's accent's retarded. I love it. Brent's accent's not thick with 2 C's, it's thick with 3 K's. You know what I mean? Brent's not even allowed to say the word black because you can still hear the ER at the end.
I enunciate very well. I'm very well spoken.
Just that word.
Just that word, real good. Trey has a cocaine problem, and we're all very concerned about him. You're doing it wrong, brother. What are you putting that shit on? Funnel cake?
I like a gummer, dude. Look. I like gummer, dude. Man, Brent looks like they designed a Mario brother to protect Confederate statues. Yeah, he's Robert E. Luigi. Final joke, guys.
Trey looks like me if I found a genie's lamp and used all 3 of my wishes to look like a fat dumbass.
All right.
I love how simple that was.
Brent looks like Squints from Sandlot. You guys remember Sandlot? L7 Weenie. Yeah, Brent looks like Squints if he quit baseball and just raked lifeguards at the pool full time.
All right, guys. Brent and Trey, every fucking monsters. Trey packed. You're going first in overtime. One more joke. Here they go, everybody.
Brent is the genie that appears if you whisper faggot 3 times into a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
You guys may have seen it. Trey and I were in a movie together. I used my lightsaber to cut him open for warmth.
Star Wars.
I hit inside of him. He's a tauntaun. Star Wars? All right, fuck.
Got his ass. Tauntaun. Don't look like more of a virgin on stage, please.
Trey Pack, what's your middle name? Snack?
That's great. That was so retarded. He's already skinny.
I didn't know we were going to do 7 jokes.
He's already skinny. He's had enough, dude. All right. All right, listen. Brent sounds
You got
like
more room on your hands. I didn't have that many room. Well, okay, I should just let you go.
Listen, I know I'm slower than you, but let me get a turn.
I'm sorry, brother.
Anyway, listen. Brent sounds like Kermit the Frog actually just fucked a pig from Alabama.
All right.
So there it was, the number 3 battle this week. Trey Pack, Brent Reed going to double overtime. Austin officially claims 2nd in the American West Division. What'd you think of the battle?
First of all, damn Josh Means. There's a lot of talk during the season. In 35 weeks, they really come out in 3rd place in the Western Division, my brother. Congratulations, though, Bay Area, whatever you did. You beat Denver. But Austin, you guys are so fun with your buzzwords. You guys didn't pull back on that. That was probably like a perfect textbook battle of what Austin looks like.
Yeah.
Silly, well-written one-liners, a lot of off-the-cuff rebuttals, and just, obviously there's a lot of buzzwords in there, but those 2 are fun, man. The tortoise and the pubic hair. That was fun.
Yeah, dude, a lot of great jokes in that. I heard you say, on the overtime joke when he said something about like the genie when you rub on the Mountain Dew bottle.
Yeah,
it seems obvious, but that's a thing for anybody who's like roast battling out there. If you have a Mountain Dew joke and your opponent opens with a Mountain Dew joke, just change the soda on the second one.
I mean, yeah, it could have been Big Red.
Yeah, exactly. Find the second most redneck soda you could think of.
something Fago.
Yeah. Just don't say the exact same thing. But I mean, look, these guys are two of the best.
Yeah.
Two of my favorites in Austin. We've seen them both perform a bunch of times at
I mean,
the mothership.
Brent
Always
Reed,
kill it.
shout out Brent Reed this season, battling Heath. I forget his last name now.
Cortez,
but
yeah.
Keith Cortez. And just like, I know who Brent Reed is now. He was on the podcast, 3 or 4 times this year?
Yeah.
So he really made a stamp this season. Obviously, Trey, I know from last season, just being out there for, 3 or 4 years, consistently doing Roast Battle Austin. And he's always been a staple out there. So shout out Trey Pack, and I hope you live longer than.
Yeah, you got to stop doing coke, man. That's
yeah. Switch to Pepsi.
That's Diet Pepsi. Yeah. That is not a body that should be taking any of that. Assuming that joke is true, who knows? Maybe these are all just jokes. Who knows? But Austin comes in second in the West, of course, finishing behind Los Angeles, which brings us to number 2 this week. And this is a guy that has been making a full-fledged run at LA MVP. He put together a campaign video for it a couple of weeks ago. He has the Mean Boys podcast behind him. I did that podcast before we left for Barcelona. We took voicemails, and the voicemails were like, why isn't Tom Goss the MVP? They were grilling me. They had me on the hot seat. This is his last pitch for MVP on the last show of the season against Roast Battle legend Robin Tran, making his last-ditch effort to make his case that he should be the LA MVP. It comes in at number 2 this week. Wow. Tom Goss versus Robin Tran. Here it is.
Orange County's finest, ladies and gentlemen. Let's roll!
Well, happy Halloween, everybody. Robin loves WWE. I guess she relates to people who dress up in a costume and get beat up for it.
Oh, you're fucking funny, man. Tom looks like a rookie cop who actually would shoot black people by accident. Oh, I fucked up the delivery of that. I'm rusty. Tom looks like a rookie cop. All right, sorry. I've been wanting to do that joke all day, and it bombed. All right, go ahead. You're winning. Go ahead, you fucking asshole. Go ahead. Just do your next joke.
All right.
I'm rusty.
All right, guys. Robin is a Vietnamese ladyboy, but she only suckies at covering her bald spots.
It's not. Tom touched me backstage. No, I'm sorry. You're going down, buddy. Guys, whatever you do, don't do a magic trick in front of Tom, because he'll start crying and then kill you because he got scared. Pretty good, right? All right, go ahead.
Robin masturbates to photos of herself, which means Republicans are wrong. Robin is not going to fuck your kids. Robin is going to rape your animals. You burnt koala bitch.
Get it now.
I am not gonna rape something I'm gonna eat. All right, sorry. All right. Take that offline. Take that offline now. All right, fine. Tom, here's a true story, okay? Tom tried to kill himself. Thank you. Because he thought he was the Zodiac killer. Right? Tell them it's true.
It is true.
All right. Tom tried, because he thought he was a Zodiac killer, and he thought he was gonna somehow go back in time and kill a bunch of people. Tell them this is all true.
It's all true. It's still all
We're
true.
We're still at the setup. This being this guy's fucking friend. He tried to kill him because he thought he was gonna go back in time and kill all those people. He decided to kill himself to spare those people's lives. Can you guys believe that Tom had a psychotic break that was so crazy that he thought he was important.
Hurtful.
Kill yourself.
So Robin she hasn't gotten the bottom surgery because she can't afford it, according to her. She also, in 1 year, spent $36,000 on Postmates. Which means she won't pay to cut it off, but she will eat until her gut swallows it.
Damn, Tom.
This is the last. This is 4. This is the 4th one, right?
I went first, so you got 2 more. Yeah.
We have 2 more, right?
Momentum.
We have 2 more. 2 more. Tom looks like if there was a main villain in March of the Penguins.
That's funny.
Damn it. So back when Robin was Robert, she got fired for sexual harassment.
That's right.
And her dick is so small it was considered to be a microaggression.
Thanks for gendering me correctly. That's so nice of you.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last joke. All right. I guess I'll get serious for a second. We're here. I'm glad to be here with you, Tom. We're here at the Comedy Store, right? October 28th, 2024. What city are we in, Tom?
I believe it's the 28th.
Yeah. What city?
West Hollywood.
Well, okay. Tom, if you're here, then who's the Tom Goss that's currently in Aurora Psychiatric Hospital that was put there in 2014 for having delusions of grandeur of being a stand-up comedian? Tom, snap out of it, Tom. You've been talking to a wall for 9 years now, Tom. Wake up! Your family misses you! Roast battle is not real. This is a show that you manifested from the guilt you had from killing all those people.
That's such a good joke. Damn, that's mean.
Number 2 battle this week, Tom Goss, Robin Tran. There's a lot to cover here. I will say in Robin's defense, because she was giving you shit about the counting of the jokes, I understand why she didn't want to get cut off early and miss the chance to do that joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, don't say cut off early and we're talking about Robin Tran.
I throw it up, you slam it down.
It was thanks for the volleyball.
My pleasure. Great battle, kind of the opposite of New York, where we said we felt like it was all surface level and we didn't learn anything about them. We learned a lot about these guys in this battle. From Tom's attempted suicide and the story behind that. Robin spending $36,000 on Postmates in 1 year, which is a horrific number. It doesn't even make sense.
Your accountant hates you. That's insane.
That's $100 a day.
I mean, in California, you can't even write like half of that off.
Yeah.
And like a quarter of it off. Like you're actually spending the money on that. That's almost like dental or vision insurance.
How can you write any of it off?
I think if it's, you
can only write off food if you take out a client for like a meal or something like that. Robin was just having it delivered.
Well, listen, I mean,
you might have a better accountant. You might
like,
have a better accountant than I do.
I was gonna say, just Robin can be 2 people. Is what I'm saying. So she can actually be like, I'm taking myself out.
Claiming herself as a dependent. Interesting. I thought it was a great battle. And here's one thing that I'll say: the decision went to Robin, which I know Tom was like upset about, mainly because he's making this MVP push.
Yeah.
And I think he feels like that'll work against him.
Yeah.
To me, it's a great battle. It picks up the points. Him and Nate Welch, by the numbers, are as close as you could possibly get. Nate went 6-3. Tom went 5-3. Nate had 30 points, I believe. Tom had 32. I mean, it's really just it's absolutely neck and neck at this point.
Damn.
I guess 6-2 looks better than 5-3, but at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't matter that much.
That's arbitrary. I'll take that out of like my equation. I mean, obviously, I don't have a vote, guys, so don't worry about me. I just get to be on this podcast and just be like objective about it all. that battle in particular was just for the geeks. Like if you're really into roast battle, you really like that battle.
Yeah.
Because I think if you've never seen Robin before, you're like, why? What is this? Why are you guys so excited about it? Robin is a legend at this. Like Robin helps us in a lot of ways. Get to a lot of people we may not have gotten to before, and she is really, really, really good at this. I mean, probably a top 3 or 5. She was a little rusty.
Yeah.
In this, and I saw that, and I think maybe our audience might see that too. But I saw what she was going for in that, and I think if you know Robin, we gave her a lot of grace in the room, and even Wood Harris was there, Avon Barstow from The Wire, and he's a geek of this show, and he voted for Robin.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know that. Like he voted for Robin because he's a geek and he saw what Robin was trying to do.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, and she was building this whole narrative about, Tom, this isn't real. This was all a dream the whole time.
Yeah.
And she may have gotten to it eventually, and I think you gave her grace if you knew what she was doing. But just to get to that point and try to even build that theme is PhD shit.
Yeah.
To get to that whole thing and to switch it around on Tom and to be like, Tom, this was all a dream the whole time. And I know you came back to this thing that you hated at one point because you thought you were killing people. I mean, that was brilliance. Had she delivered it better, I think our audience, I don't know, because obviously I haven't seen this yet, but give her the grace and just understand that if she was doing this consistently like Tom was, she'd have nailed that. You'd been like, I don't know why Robin hasn't won this thing before. But just the fact that she attempted that, that's how her brain works. And that's how good her upside, if you guys can understand, is huge. And that should be an example of how good her upside is. Now for Tom, and this is the last thing I'll say about it before getting out of here.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a run for how short of an amount of time you did. You didn't do it 35 weeks, my guy.
No.
Nate did.
Yeah.
You didn't. And for that, I would give you the MVP. That's why.
Wow.
I love Nate. It's Nate's title in that room. But what that guy did, and I've seen Nate battle other guys in other regions and in neutral sites, and that's what I'm holding against him, is that Netflix festival, right? I didn't get to see Tom in that, but the amount of time that Tom's come back, and he knocked the rust off very quickly. And he's almost on this podcast every week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't see Nate on this podcast every week. So that's my MVP, Tom Goss.
To be fair, the only thing I'll say to play devil's advocate is, as the champ, Nate doesn't get to battle every 3 weeks if he wants. He battles when I tell him against who I tell him to. So I want to be really clear about that. Tom, it is an
advantage.
It's an advantage and a disadvantage because Tom set out on this very ambitious schedule. Same kind of thing that Paige Wesley and Ryan Nesson did. But Tom was the one of the group who they were all like, I'm making a run for MVP. I'm battling every 3 weeks. Nobody, I knocked this off and I caught it and I wanted you to know that. It's very impressive. Nobody was able to put up the kind of battles that Tom was on that level consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an advantage and a disadvantage. If it's an advantage if you can make it work, and boy, did he ever make it work. Without getting into the MVP thing, I think they both had incredible seasons, and that's a title match that will take place next year. Yeah. I mean, for sure. That should be the season opening battle, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen.
And Nate's also a household name at this point when it comes to this, this league now. I mean, people know he's got a special move like Shalaka created a special move, and now Nate has done a thing I've never seen in stand-up. And this isn't stand-up, but it's in joke writing where they tell you to stay away from the puns. Neil Brennan always says, and that's one of the most famous comedy writers in history, right? The guy helps, co-create Chappelle's show. And if you look at all of his specials, they're just well written. He's a hell of a writer. Seth Meyers is his best friend. They write together. Just understand what I'm talking about here. He always says, be careful with puns.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys, when you come in, they have this mentality, stay away from puns. Nobody told Nate that.
Yeah.
And that guy came in and he's wrecking shop with it. And he's changed people's mentalities when it comes to that. And I've even seen it with some of the audiences, just even when it comes to stand-up. Guys are using puns. Audiences are into it now so much where they used to say stay away from that in writing, especially when it comes to comedy, because that's a crutch you shouldn't use because it's not really comedy. It's kind of it's just hacky and nobody wants to hear you do that. Maybe. Nate's changed that formula for me. So I think he does get this thing of he created a special move. But Tom's amount of time, man, I don't know. You're right. Maybe I don't have a vote, but I mean, I don't have a clear, concise winner, but I like the amount of time that Tom put in, knocking that rust off. There's a little bit of advantage because he's done it before. But yeah, Nate and his special move and him being the champ right now. And I didn't know that you you're his owner. What you keep the leash on him.
You're the champ. You got to battle who we tell you to. You don't really have that choice. Two very different paths to get to kind of the same place. Both very worthy in my mind. I think it's a tough decision, and it'll be made within the next week or so. The thing that I want to say when you talk about special moves, the fact that Robin went for that thing at the end, and she hit me up a few days before the battle to sort of pick my brain on when I attempted to do the big Japanese closer in Japan, and it didn't go according to plan. And she was just kind of like asking, like, what are your thoughts on that? And my thought was, I would much rather bomb with something I was really excited to do and take a swing versus killing with a safe joke that I know will work, right? And she's like, good, then that's what I want to do too. Because she was on the fence. She's like, I have this thing. She didn't tell me all the details, but she was like, I have this thing, and I'm kind of like worried about it. I'm glad that she went for it. I'm glad that John Ajota does what he does. I'm glad that the best people are not resting on their laurels and being like, here's what I have to do to win. They're like, here's what I have to do to try to create a moment and do something special and establish myself as one of these people that everybody is talking about. I think that that's really cool. And we saw it back in the day. I didn't invent it. Ajota didn't invent it. The first guy I remember was Doug Fager against Alex Hooper 8 years ago. He had a closer about Beauty and the Beast, and it had musical accompaniment and everything like that.
Right.
And that was the first one to me that really broke open this mold of like, oh, you can try things that are outside of the box. And now to see it like expanding and people being inspired by, like, I'm inspired by John Ajota. I know a lot of other people are as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really, really cool.
That part exactly. Yeah, you're right. It's almost like the same time when you see Earl or Jamar do like their intros, you're like, oh, I didn't know we could like bring in all the elements of comedy, right?
Yeah.
You can bring sketch, you can bring improv, you can bring stand-up, you can bring all the elements. Setup, punch, props, sound effects, all of it. You can use it, costumes, you can do everything with this. And I think, Doug Faver doing that. Frank Castillo shaving his head when he like thinks guys are going to like talk about his bald head, using strategy to kind of get guys out of their game. Alex Hooper changing his whole gender. Right before a battle, that was you. I'm sorry that happened to you.
That was me, but I mean, it was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm saying like there's just those kind of things do inspire you. I think as a writer or just like as a performer, you're like, that's crazy. I know you could do that. So yeah, in that sense of Robin doing that and then Nate being that now, you're like, okay, John Ajota, Shalaka, you're like, that's what makes this sport so fun, because you can see just the stars being created because they're creating their own voice in a sense.
It's the evolution. And I think it's so important that you keep evolving and keep trying different things as joke writers. And I always make like basketball comparisons. I'll do another one. You go back and watch Jordan and Dominique in the dunk contest. At the time, everybody's heads were exploding because it's like, this guy did a windmill? And then somebody went through the legs. And then they're like, well, what if I went through the legs and did a windmill? Next thing you know, you got guys doing, jumping over mascots and cars and shit like that. And like, sometimes it sucks and it's corny. And it's like, why did did Jaylen Brown do that? Whatever. But you run the risk. You have to risk doing something that fails in order to do something that is successful on a new level and create something new. And I applaud everybody who goes out and tries something new like that. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Without further ado,
can I just say sorry to John? Yeah. Can I say sorry to LA Rose Battle Scene? Let me apologize to John Luna. I know that we let him kind of have it on the podcast a week ago, and that was wrong. And I'm learning some things that we might have been set up for failure when it came to that. Maybe John didn't do that to Ryan, so we apologize, John. We were fed some information from one source, and let there be a lesson to everybody that you got to hear both sides of the story before reporting on one side of the story. We only let it from one side we were hearing from, not both sides. And as journalists of the roast battle, I apologize, John, and that won't happen again. John Luna isn't a thief. He's a hell of a motherfucker when it comes to this. And you're a bad boy, and I apologize. Won't happen again. Fuck you, Ryan Nesson.
I was about to say it's really mature respect until the last part. The only thing I'll say about that, and I'll speak in generalities because I was out of the country, so I don't know all the specifics. I've been briefed on a little bit of it. Just in general, to anybody, if you have something that you say publicly that is not true, if you go out on a podcast or you put it in your stand-up, if you create some sort of story about yourself or something that is not true, you cannot then get mad when somebody finds that clip and says the thing,
Yeah.
you can't be like, but I didn't put that in my info sheet. A lot of people listen to podcasts. A lot of people go back and watch stand-up to prepare. I know I always do. I track down, like, you know, what my opponent has done and look into it. So, yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Jack Weiler got lit alive for a joke that's not even in his stand-up, and he didn't fact-check John Ajoto about it. So that really upset me when I heard that. I was just like, you know what, man? Jack Weiler didn't do that, and he's been awesome about it. He's just like, it wasn't my stand-up. Who cares? But like Ryan Nesson to do that and to like, I gave you the grace because you're the world champ, and then to set me up like that, and that's bullshit. Because now me and John are probably gonna have a problem personality-wise, because he's like, well, man, I didn't even get to tell my side, Moses. So like, why would you do that to me, Ryan? The end.
Okay. We will move on to the number one battle this week, and this is one that we were in the room for. It took place at Roast Fiesta, Barcelona, and features, frankly, two of the top battlers in the world. I would say two of the top 10 battlers in the world in general, and certainly two of the top, 4 or 5 internationally. It is Barcelona versus Scotland. It is the likely Barcelona MVP of this year versus the Scotland MVP of last year. It is James Regal going up against Ryan Cullen. Here it is.
Why the fuck do I do this? All right, it's Tay. Oh, it's heads. Yeah. So, Rad, you want to go first or do first?
I'll go second.
Ooh, okay. Guys, this is Barcelona versus Scotland. Are we ready?
All right, Ryan, first of all, thank you so much for coming all the way out here. You look fantastic, by the way. Whose skin are you wearing tonight? Ryan didn't actually fly here. He was summoned here by a satanic cult. Ryan's a Catholic from Ireland. He has chronic asthma and a terrible immune system, which leaves him sick all the time. So I guess God is a Protestant after all. He's sick so often he's developed rest in peace face. He was supposed to come to Barcelona years ago, but since COVID there's been a bit of a backlog on Make-A-Wish.
Okay. It's funny because you told me you have health anxiety and constantly think you're going to die, so hopefully prophecy fulfilled tonight. Despite not being religious, James is ethnically Jewish and is a PR expert, and by that I mean he blames Hamas when he's doing unspeakable things to children. That's why he came dressed as the idea for this fucking thing.
They're an easy target. Thank you, Lex Loser. Hey Ryan, if you're here, who's running the school for gifted mutants? You're so sick all the time, you're very close to being an X-Man. Ryan looks like Mr. Clean if he drunk his own bleach. He looks like Bruce Willis if the films were called Die Easy.
Nice. James had to divorce his ex-wife for fucking a load of sailors in the Caribbean. Oh man, that must have been devastating for you. So 90% of the time she was either drinking Sailor Jelly rum or Sailor Jerry's cum. Jesus Christ, the Caribbean hasn't been that ran through since Hurricane Katrina. Her walls have been kicked with more semen than P. Diddy's home sauna. It's nice to be here.
I wish he was here to hear those. They were great. Speaking of spam, I've never been more sure that someone is sterile in my life. Despite looking like a haunted sperm. So Ryan he looks a bit like a vampire who stopped trying to be sexy.
But failed.
I think you've done so many battles. I think you just like doing this to hear people tell you what you look like because you've never actually seen your own reflection.
shit, I better start bringing out some deep ones now.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, I have to look. James' parents separated when he was less than 1 year old. He's got 2 younger half-brothers on his mum's side. He's got a half-brother and a younger half-sister on his dad's side. It's amazing that with so many halves you can never make your family full again. Your family tree has more broken branches than some of the ones the KKK used to, conduct business.
Jesus.
American references.
I mean, that was just kind of sad. All right, let's get some facts we exchanged. Ryan claimed that one night he turned down a porn star, but after his girlfriend went back to sleep, he turned it back up again. Fine, keep going, fuck it. Ryan's been hit by a car 7 times, is that right?
It is beginning to be a problem now.
Hit by a car 7 times. Luckily, they have taken away his dad's driving license now. He said he's been in 2 accidents. 3 if you count your mum's pregnancy. 4 if you count the time she slept in for the abortion appointment.
James here thinks that he's got undiagnosed ADHD. Oh, what an original and cool thing for a male comedian to have. Next year they tell me you're a danger to women. James looks like he got his bottom rib removed to try and give himself a tit wank. That one was just for me.
Honestly, that was so. I've never heard that before. All right, Lester. Okay, Ryan's dad was in the IRA, the Irish Republican Army. Now, when I was growing up in the 80s, the IRA unleashed a terrorist campaign in London, and they were putting bombs in garbage bins.
Yeah, it was great.
And that's how you were conceived.
We call them the good old days.
I'll finish the joke.
That's all right.
It's fine, we've done a lot to you guys. You deserve to kill a punchline. So, I'll recap. Ryan's dad was a terrorist bastard. So yeah, when I was growing up in London in the 80s, they were putting bombs in dustbins, and that's actually how Ryan was conceived when his dad exploded in some trash.
I fucking love that one. Fucking hell. Well, that was a good one anyway. John Noham. James is circumcised. Christ, how tight was your sister's ass? When he was 16 years old, James was caught calling up a phone sex line by his own mother. In his defense, it was the only time he got to speak to her.
Outstanding battle. We're gonna
Outstanding year to the league.
Yeah. It's really, and what a way to end the season with 2 of the best. Fun fact, across 2 RBL seasons, there are 4 battlers who have double-digit appearances on this podcast. Those are 2 of them right there. So legitimately 2 of the best battlers in the world. Thought it was an incredible battle. Great jokes on both sides. I think James's delivery was a little bit cleaner, and they got to the punches a little bit quicker, and had a couple of huge haymakers. That exploded in trash one is insane. But Ryan he had a lot of great shit, and he's so fun.
Yeah, I mean,
just so fun.
Every time we meet Ryan Cullen in person, we just seem to fall more and more in love with him as a dude. He is one of the most interesting, most fun. I mean, and he's a hell of a comic and a writer. I mean, the guy goes for it, and he's just You guys got to kick it with this guy. He's the most fun cat in the world, bro. And James Regal, my brother, thank you. Thank you for what you've done in Barcelona. You're one of the best joke writers in the world. You're one of the best roast battlers in the world. And we can see it why right there. That trash joke is probably a nominee for one of the jokes of the year. That thing was incredible. That scene is incredible. And the reason that John No Ham didn't work, because ham is huge in Spain. Like, they're really known for their ham. But evidently, James is known for having one of the biggest penises.
Is that so?
The things you learn. So when you say John No Ham, they're like, yeah, right. You haven't seen this thing. So that's why that didn't work, probably.
Got it.
Or they didn't understand because Ryan's Irish.
Yeah, I figured it was the latter.
Yeah, I didn't know either until somebody was just like, "Oh no, John's like James got he's known to have like a big dick." I'm like, "Oh, dude, why did I know that?"
Yeah,
and now I know. John Big Ham.
Yeah, by the way, we my wife and I we crashed at James's place, like in his guest room. And like just lives in a great part of town, great view of the city, beautiful space.
It overlooks the whole city.
He's obviously very successful. He's very, very funny, and apparently a huge dick on top of it.
It used to be a DJ in Ibiza. I mean, like the guy couldn't be more stereotypical. Big dick, dude. DJ in Ibiza.
What was his wife thinking? All those sailors?
He wins.
Yeah, you had the prize at home the whole time. You fucked up, lady. Great job by Barcelona. They pick up the #1 on the last week of the season. I could talk all day about those guys, but we got to get to the standings and get out of here and give Tokyo their flowers. These are the final standings. LA takes the #1 overall seed, which means when it comes to the playoffs, they will have whoever the LA battler is will have the opportunity to go first or defer, which could be a big advantage in the battle. They will be going up against New York in the semifinals. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Scotland and we have Tokyo. As the weeks go on, we will talk more about who the actual battlers are, but just congratulations to Tokyo, despite the fact that you made a major miscalculation this week and submitted a battle in front of a crowd that did not even know what a battle was. I don't know what you were thinking, but it didn't matter. You did enough this season to where you were able to overcome that last-minute snafu and still take first, barely beating out Manchester.
1.5 points?
1.5 points.
Wow.
I know.
That's how close that was.
That's
1.5 points. That's incredible. What a season.
Yeah, really was. And I know how much Tokyo wanted this. I know that they are legitimately celebrating right now, and I know that they are going to be out for blood when they try to take the world championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising that's not 1 versus 4. It's 1 versus 2 and 3 versus 4. But I love it because they did call their shot like the Bay Area did. And the Bay Area not only called their shot, but they came in 3rd in the division. And then Tokyo called their shot, and then they won. So shout out Tokyo for doing the Babe Ruth thing and actually winning when you call your shot. Bay Area, you spent a lot of time to fucking make a diss track that didn't really hit at all.
They still scored over 100 points. It was a good season for them. But yeah, it's you got to give it back to them a little bit. And that's an interesting thing about 1-4 and 2-3. We might have to look into that for future seasons. I always thought we would go U.S. versus U.S., international versus international. That way we would get a U.S. versus international final every time. But you know, maybe that's something we.
I mean, you're all
got to
the
look
U.S.
into.
versus international in the semis. I mean, like, you know, the whole thing is they're battling each other. But yeah, that 1 versus 4, it should be. They snuck in. They should play the top guys.
True. Well, I believe we're locked into the format for this year, but the rules committee is going to have a very serious offseason with a lot of things to talk about, and that will be one of them. Either way, congratulations to the 4 playoff cities, and especially Tokyo sneaking in on the last day of the season. Great year for them. Great year for the RBL.
Congratulations, Pat Barker.
Thank you.
That was a hell of a season 2, baby. You knock this shot out of the park every year.
Thank you. Job is not done though until we get this championship done. We've been talking to some places. We've been talking to some people. We'll have announcements really, really soon. I'm very, very, very excited about where this is going to be and what's going to be happening. So without further ado, let's get to the end of the episode. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this, for building our audience during the season. It was crazy to watch the YouTube numbers go up, the engagement. I love the comments on this podcast. I love talking to you guys. Thanks to the Patreon members who helped us rank battles this season. The RBL community is really coming together, and it's very, very cool to be a part of. So thank you. We'll be back next week with a couple weeks of pre-record stuff, and then the off-season content is gonna be crazy as we build to the championship at the end of January. Until next time, you got anything?
Get tickets, buy merch. Let's roast.